Well, for more on this, I'm joined by Liana Fix from the German Marshall Fund of the United States. It's good to have you with us on DW News. Now, Russia claims it's withdrawing some of its troops from the border with Ukraine, but we just heard the US president there casting some doubt. What should we be reading into this?
It is the right approach to be cautious. We have seen in the past that announcements from the Russian Ministry of Defense to withdraw troops actually led to just troops restationing, troops remaining in position. That was the case, for instance, in the spring of last year. So it is the right approach to remain cautious until a withdrawal of troops is verified. But on the other hand, Scholz's trip to Moscow has symbolized this. There is a window of diplomacy which now has to be used. And both the talks in Kiev as well as the talks in Moscow showed the path ahead, which is the implementation of the Minsk agreements that were concluded in 2014 and further discussions on security, the stationing of missiles in Europe.
So, in your opinion, is that what would represent some form of diplomatic breakthrough?
An agreement on the implementation of Minsk and on security measures, arms control measures in Europe could be enough for the Russian president to withdraw and to argue that he has achieved victory, that he has forced the West to the negotiation table and achieved significant results. On the other hand, the Russian president also said in the press conference with the German chancellor that he will not talk forever and that he wants very explicit statements from the West that Ukraine will not join NATO. So legally binding written guarantees, that is the language that has come out of Moscow. So while there's a window of opportunity and for diplomacy now, we have to remain cautious. As the Russian president has signaled, this is not a window that may remain open for a long time.
Well, yeah, I mean, President Joe Biden has said that there are ways to address Russia's security concerns. And one might be wondering if this issue of Ukraine's sovereignty and that option to join NATO may have to be up for discussion.
It is a difficult issue because Russia wants to define what NATO does. They want an implicit veto right over NATO's policy, which is something that in turn NATO cannot accept. NATO has to defend its principles, but also not only its principles, the principles of NATO, but also the principles of the European Security Order that also Russia signed, that every country can choose its security alliance. That's something that Russia has signed in the Charter of Paris of 1990 and in the Helsinki Final Act of 1975. So this is not a principle that can just easily be thrown out of the window. But a compromise might be, and this has been signaled by the German chancellor, but also by Washington, that no one is actually planning to admit Ukraine into NATO anytime soon. The question really is if this statement is enough for the Kremlin to stop the troop buildup, or if it requires more formal arrangements, which for NATO and the West will be very difficult to agree upon.
Liana Fix, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.